Hi, everyone. It is so great to be here at Ship today. Thank you for joining us in New York City in the middle of all this crazy World Cup action. I suggest no one leave this building for a couple hours because it's traffic out there. Luckily, everything lines up nicely. I want to really thank Guillermo and his team for hosting AWS today. We have such a great partnership between AWS and Vercel. It's an exciting time to be a builder. We are going through one of the biggest shifts of our lifetime, and it's really changing what's possible for everyone in this room. For most of computing history, the hard part was everything between the idea and a working product. It took specialized skills, months of setup, and the budget and time to be wrong a few times along the way. AI has been removing all those constraints. It's enabling us to build at an incredible, unprecedented pace, which means for the first time, you can build almost anything that you can imagine. A lot of ideas start small. A prototype for a specific pain point, an improvement to a process, but the right idea doesn't stay small. It catches, and it reaches escape velocity, and it becomes the product everyone is using, the one that no one saw coming, the thing that changes how industries work. The distance between I had an idea and I changed the world in some meaningful way has never been shorter, and it's time for all of us to take advantage of that. The most transformative inventions didn't come from people playing it safe. They came from people chasing ideas that felt too ambitious, too complex, or too early. And now AI has helped us catch up to that kind of ambition. That's why AWS and Vercel are working together to take the friction out of building your biggest ideas, from the first prototype all the way to getting to global scale. Now, we know Vercel gives builders a fast path, from an idea to something deployed and live. A developer experience designed so you spend your time building and not configuring. When you ship a change, you see it instantly. That's what lets the team move at the speed of its ideas instead of the speed of its infrastructure. For the value of AWS, the speed only matters if you can build what holds up when it works. That's why AWS matters. When your idea finds real usage, lots of traffic, real data, security compliance requirements, you need what AWS can bring. Global scale, resiliency, enterprise-grade security, and of course, the deepest and broadest set of cloud and AI capabilities. Whatever your app needs as you scale, it's there. And you don't have to choose between the two. Vercel runs on AWS. It uses more than 30 AWS services under the hood, including AWS Lambda and Amazon Bedrock, deployed across 20 of our global regions. So you start with Vercel's ease and speed on day one, and as your app scales, you can adopt more and more of AWS's depth as needed without replatforming. That's the path we're going to follow today. How you build, how you add production capabilities, and how you operate at scale using Vercel and AWS together. Let's start with how you build. For some of you, building starts with V0, Vercel's AI assistant for design and iteration. You describe what you want, and V0 gives you a fully working, full-stack application in minutes. That's incredible for speed. But speed by itself has a catch. For anyone who's lived with an AI-generated app for a few months, you know there's some challenges. Inconsistent patterns can emerge, there can be duplicated components, there's often thin test coverage, and if you're not careful, you face architectural drift that can make change more difficult as your app scales out. That's where Kiro comes in. Kiro is AWS's spec-driven agentic IDE built on Amazon Bedrock. Instead of jumping straight to code, it works spec first. It turns your prompt into requirements, user stories, acceptance criteria, technical design, even a task list. And then Kiro writes the code and tests against those original stories. While V0 gets you building fast, iterating on an idea and testing a functional app with a focus group of users, with Kiro, you can build things that are so durable they can really scale. We see teams combining V0 and Kiro in a bunch of ways. The most common is V0 to Kiro. You prototype fast in V0, and then you bring it into Kiro to generate those requirements, the planning the new features, refactoring, testing, and you can manage any technical debt that shows up, which you don't want. The reverse also works. Kiro to V0. When requirements are complex, you define those specs and architecture in Kiro first, and then you hand them to V0 to generate the app. And of course, many teams are running both in parallel. V0 is the UI factory for the front ends, design systems, and dashboards, and Kiro is the engineering operating system for the back end, the APIs, the data models, and your test strategy. With both, you can build fast and you can build right. Now, I know you all love the front-end development Vercel is so well known for, but as you heard Guillermo talk about, Vercel is getting into full-stack development in a big way. Now you can deploy backends on Vercel like Fast API, Flask, Express, and others. This morning, we ran a joint AWS and Vercel workshop for many of you, where we connected straight to Amazon Aurora using Vercel's AI Gateway and Amazon Bedrock for AI inference, and shipped a full stack app live, front end, back end, and database, all in a single workflow. Check out this QR code. You can get a recap of the workshop. It'll take you through all of what we did and how you can do it yourself. Now, I want to root this in a real customer example. One of those is the weather company. They've built full stack apps at scale. The weather company serves real-time forecasts to over 350 million monthly active users. And they're backed by more than 100 meteorologists who calculate 2 billion coordinates every 15 minutes. That's truly scale. The weather company runs on AWS, and using Vercel, they rebuilt their entire web serving stack and their content management system, something that previously would have taken months. Taken years, they did in just months. That change meant that a web page can go from design to being published in a few hours, an 80% increase in velocity. So you're used to V0 and Kiro. You've used V0 and Kiro to build your prototype. Now let's talk about production capabilities. There are 3 powerful AWS capabilities available in Vercel to take your app further. I already referenced a bit about AWS databases. There's Amazon OpenSearch and access to the broadest choice of models through Amazon Bedrock. Let's go a little deeper in databases. Every app we know needs a way to manage data. And this is the first place where prototype to production gaps can be the most difficult. The lightweight data layer that's perfect while you're prototyping and scaling early users is the first thing to buckle under heavy use. When users show up, you have concurrent connections climbing, your working set can outgrow memory, and read traffic can really pile into a handful of hot rows. The product is fine, but the data tier becomes the most likely to fall over. And standing up a reliable production-grade database is unfamiliar and slow to many people. To address this, we worked with Vercel to make AWS databases native in the Vercel Marketplace. Aurora PostgreSQL, Aurora DSQL, and DynamoDB. These are the same database services that run mission-critical workloads at some of the largest companies in the world, including, of course, Amazon.com, and they're available to you instantly. You provision them right from the Vercel dashboard, and V0 can create and connect AWS accounts and databases to your projects as it builds. There's no manual IAM setup, no passwords and environment variables. Authentication uses short-lived credentials, and those details are injected right into your project automatically. And Vercel tested this, and by a wide margin, Aurora is the fastest database available compared to competing options because there's no network hop between your code and your data. You get under a millisecond of latency, twice as fast as the next best option. I want to show you an example of using V0 to build an app on an AWS database. Let's say I want to build a food delivery app. Traditionally, I'd create that app, provision a database, configure credentials, wire the services together, lots of separate steps. Instead, with Vercel, I just describe what I want. Build me a food delivery app with restaurant listings, menus, a shopping cart, order tracking. V0 starts generating, and it recognizes the app needs a database. So right inside the flow, it recommends Aurora PostgreSQL. With one click, I've got a production-grade Aurora database, even with $100 in AWS credits if you're new to the platform. And Vercel handles the rest, connecting that database and wiring it all together. If I ever want to take a look at that config, it's just a few clicks away in Vercel. I can even jump into my AWS Management Console without having to log in separately. It's just that easy. And builders are already running with this. We just wrapped up a joint hackathon with Vercel. More than 8,000 builders took part, competing for $160,000 in prizes and AWS credits, going from a prompt to a deployed application on the infrastructure I just showed you. These same data services are the ones that startups and enterprises run in production. Now let's talk about search. Increasingly, that means retrieval for AI. And here's the challenge. An AI feature is only good as what data it can get to. To give a model accurate current answers, you have to ground it in your own content. And that means running real search infrastructure, things like vector indexes and embeddings that hold up under unpredictable loads. Standing that up yourself usually means stitching together several systems and often paying for capacity you don't end up using. That's why we worked with Vercel to add Amazon OpenSearch Serverless to the Vercel Marketplace. Once again, provisioned in just a click. It has unified support for vector, lexical, hybrid, and agentic search. It's the ideal foundation for RAG, grounding your AI in your own content. And it auto-scales up to 20 times faster, but maybe more importantly, it can scale to 0 when not used, so you pay nothing when idle, and can cut your search costs by up to 60%, because you're not paying for peak capacity, you're paying for real usage. The result is a retrieval layer behind production-grade AI features without dealing with the operational burden of running it yourself. The third capability I want to touch on is access to AI models. No single model wins at everything. Accuracy, speed, cost, and context length all trade off against each other. And the right pick for the job is somewhere in front of you, but you have to know what it is. Having those right models on hand and being able to switch as your needs change matters a lot. That's where Amazon Bedrock comes in. Bedrock is a model provider in the Vercel AI Gateway. So by configuring Bedrock, you get one endpoint to over 100 foundation models, including the latest frontier models from Anthropic and OpenAI. And you can swap between them without rewriting your app. Instead of wiring up each model provider one by one with separate accounts, separate keys, separate policies, everything routes through Bedrock. It enables that security and governance. Every call runs under your own controls and logging, and Bedrock guardrails can apply consistent policy checks across every model. And because it all runs through Vercel's AI Gateway, it's one endpoint, no separate accounts to manage, and usage tracking built right in. We've touched on how you build and how you add production capabilities. Let's look at how you operate at enterprise scale. And for a lot of builders operating at enterprise, it very painfully starts with how you buy. Today, enterprise users can procure Vercel directly through the AWS Marketplace, which means it runs through the procurement and billing you already have set up, and it can apply Vercel workloads against your existing AWS commitments. Vercel's been an AWS partner since 2023, and we've seen more than 300 enterprise customers use this path to adopt Vercel quickly. For larger enterprises, the details of where your workloads run, which account owns them, how they reach your private internal systems, and if you have to deal with auditors and regulators, tons of really complex things come up. And these concerns have all been addressed when you have an existing cloud provider agreement. The tricky part is how do you get the benefits of Vercel in a way that deals with all those concerns? With Vercel's new Bring Your Own Cloud capability, it's now possible to run Vercel functions inside your AWS account. Your compute, your build artifacts, your data all run on your AWS instance, and Vercel runs the rest. Your apps, your agents reach private backends the same way anything else in your account can, with your own CI and pipeline. It's a win-win. Your engineers keep the Vercel developer experience they love, while your platform security and compliance teams keep what they need. The network controls, full IAM, audit evidence, data residency, if they're already consolidated the AWS accounts with the agreements you have in place. Bring Your Own Cloud is in private beta, so if you're interested, reach out to your account team, and they can take you through details. So before I leave you, I wanted to give you one more example. Fanatics. They're a great example of combining the power of Vercel and AWS. Fanatics does so many things for fans, and one of them is pretty fun, making and selling trading cards. That part of the business is built around connecting the physical and digital collector experience. And when they drop new cards, there are massive traffic spikes. Staying fast and available in the moment is everything to them. To make it happen, they use Vercel and AWS together. Vercel's serverless deployment running on AWS use Lambda, EC2, and S3. And their teams, both engineers and non-engineers alike, used V0 to turbocharge new front-end experiences so they can constantly wow those picky collectors with the exciting next drop. I started today by saying all of us have the potential to build something that changes the world. And I know that at first, those ideas don't always feel safe or obvious or even possible. That's exactly the moment to push through. Don't accept the limitations of today as the boundaries of tomorrow. Our goal at AWS has always been to remove every barrier standing between your imagination and reality. That's why we build, that's why we keep pushing more services, more capabilities, more ways to help you move from idea to impact. And that's why we've been deepening our collaboration with Vercel. So when it feels like you have an idea that's too big, the technology is never the thing that holds you back. So here's my parting challenge. Think even bigger than you think is possible. Be audacious, be bold, and build with Vercel and AWS. That next great invention that changes the world might just come from you. Thank you. Have a great ship. See you soon.